Hey guys, welcome back to Beaneater Buzz. It's been a few weeks. Back here, Jordan Hunt, myself with Colleen McGuire.
Hello, everyone.
It's been a fun couple weeks to be a Braves fan. There's been some overreactions the last couple days due to the Braves finally losing in June. The Braves started 14-0 in June. And yes, the two losses were not great losses, but we could have easily won them. Especially the first game. Like, I don't know how many balls the wind knocked down in Wrigley, but that one Acuna hit for sure off the bat was like, that's gone. Mm-hmm. And then it just died. And even Ronald was like, what the fuck? What just happened? Yeah. So
1-0 loss is always frustrating, regardless of the circumstance.
We've got
the worst kind of loss to me.
2, I think, this year. I know we have at least 2 because we lost the first game in Milwaukee 1-0.
Yes, on the wild pitch.
Yeah, and they didn't even get an RBI.
Yeah. But that's the same thing with the Cubs. They didn't even get a hit and got the run. Which of course leads to the people being like, the Braves just need to change their approach and play small ball. And, obviously the wind is knocking them down and yada, yada, yada. And
they just won 14 games in a row. If they change their
because
approach,
they hit home runs.
Fucking stupid. They're fucking stupid. And honestly, if Kevin Seitzer went in there and said, all right, guys, we're playing in Wrigley Field this weekend. We got to change our approach.
Get it on the ground.
They should fire him because in the last 14 games, whatever he told them, I don't know what Snit said in that team meeting in Arizona before game 3, but whatever it was a hell of a speech because they didn't lose for 2.5 weeks.
That was like, I don't know how much of it was coincidental. I don't know how much of it was what he said. I mean, telling them, hey, guess what? You got to start winning, because it's just like, obviously what, what I mean? It's not like they thought, oh, it's fine. We can just, lollygag our way to the division again. So it just is interesting. It's just like, what did he say that like snapped something in their minds to be like, oh yeah, that's right. We should play well.
It probably wasn't even that he went in there and was like, you guys suck. Mm-hmm. What are you doing? It was probably more so him going in there and being like, hey, look, our goal is to win the division every year. We're 10.5 games back right now. Mm-hmm. But I think at that point, we were only like 4 games back of a wild card spot. Mm-hmm. So he probably just went in there and was like, look, like, you're putting all this pressure on yourself because we always talk about winning the division. That's our goal every year. I mean, Snit said that like 4 times at the beginning of the year. This is our goal. We're going to win the division. This is our goal. We're going to win the division. Well, I mean, when you're 10.5 games back in June, on June 1st, you do kind of have to accept that, hey, maybe the division is out of reach. Mm-hmm. Now, we found out pretty quickly over the next 14 games that was not true at all. We currently sit 6.5 back now after the last 2 losses and the Mets winning. But knowing Snit, it was probably just that even-keeled, like, hey, man, just go out there and play baseball. Yeah. Like, at this point, what do you have to lose? And whatever he said, and whether it was coincidental, like you said, to, coincide with that streak, I'm sure some of what he said in there was important to that streak. I mean, those guys just, I mean, there was games where like it was looking like, okay, maybe we're not going to pull this one out. Mm-hmm. And then they'd go off and hit 3 more homers, and the whole streak, like, early on in the season, it was one of the biggest problems was every time the Braves would homer, it'd be a solo homer. Mm-hmm. The whole streak, it's like 2-run homers every game, 3-run homers, like couple grand slams in there. I know there was at least 1 grand slam.
There's 2, Ozzie and Travis.
Ozzie, I forgot about Ozzie's grand slam. Yeah, so.
And it's like, I because the beginning of this year feels and felt so much like the beginning of last year that you wonder if that was in their heads too, of like,
oh no, it's
what that year. Again. Yeah, or it's like, oh, it doesn't matter that we're under 500. Look what we did last year being under 500. So maybe that was part of Snit's speech too, is like, this isn't last year. This is this year. And right now the Mets are 10.5 games ahead of us.
And
Can't
look
count
what
on
you
them
did last
falling out the way they fell out last year. Just go
Yeah.
out there and play your games and win. And it seems to have been working.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that they
just like some of those games were just everything was going.
I think
right.
they said during the streak,
the defense, the hitting, all of it.
Yeah, during the streak, they flashed some crazy graphic the other day. During the streak, it was like the Braves ranked first in every offensive category, all the way up and down the board.
Homers, and some pitching ones too.
In that 14-game win streak, they hit more home runs than the Detroit Tigers have hit all season. That is just absurd. Like now, that looks really bad on the Detroit Tigers, but
the point stands.
Still,
they hit a lot of home runs.
Game stretch. They hit more home runs than another team has hit all season, and that's just that. Honestly, it's kind of mind blowing that that's even possible this late in the season. But
and I think right now they just have fewer home runs than the Yankees. Other than that, they're they're number 2 in all of baseball.
I think we've got 96.
So they're hitting a lot of them, and
good.
so it's. I mean, the pitching stellar.
That's what I was about to say. That too, lowest ERA in baseball over the 14-game stretch.
Bullpen has been lights out. Those 2 back-to-back extra inning on the road wins.
In
what?
Colorado?
That's not allowed to happen. Like that was to me where I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, I know.
Not only did we win one, we then won the next one.
When we won the first game, what was it? It was 0-0 going in, right?
Oh, that game where Max just pitched his head off. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first extra inning game. It was 0-0 going into the 10th inning. And everybody, Braves fans, every time we're going into 10th inning, we're like, well, here's a loss. Like that's it. Like we've just gotten so used to not performing.
History tells us we're probably not going to win the game.
And then for that inning to be so different, we end up putting up 3 runs in an extra inning. It was like, whoa, we're allowed to score more than 1 run in an extra inning. Like when did they change that? And
it was with 2 outs I think it was the second one where then Ozuna hit that double.
That wasn't
Duvall hit a home run.
That was the next
second
game.
one, I think, right? Yeah.
The first game, I'm almost positive. Let me go look at the summary here. The
that one went to 11, I think. Didn't it? We score 1 and they score 1?
No, we went to the 10th.
Oh, that was only the 10th. Okay.
Yeah. So in that game, 10th inning, a wild pitch scored the first run. Duvall was on third. The bases loaded.
That's right.
And I'm pretty sure
Olsen got that hit.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And I was going to say, I'm pretty sure there were 2 outs. That wild pitch scored a run, and then Olsen lined that liner down the third base line. And it was like, okay, here we go. And then the next game, we go into the 10th inning, and I want to say, let me find it. Okay. Oh, I got all.
Yeah, we each scored in the 10th.
Yeah, we each scored in the 10th. And then we put
4 in the 11th.
And then we put up 4 in the 11th, and it started. Ozuna doubled. Contreras followed immediately with another double.
That's right.
And
then the home run.
This is after 2 outs.
Yeah.
Because Matt Olson flew out, and then Ozzy flew out, and it was like, okay.
And I remember it was against Julius Chastain, and I was like, "Are we serious with this? We can't put up a run against this guy."
And then
they're like, "Nah, never mind.
Ozuna doubles, Contreras doubles, and then Duvall hits a home run. So we score 4 runs in a matter of seconds.
And for Duvall, I feel like the floodgates just opened for him. I feel like it was just like everything was like,
and having Michael Harris there has changed.
It's like people don't realize the other ways that these guys help being back.
Oh, dude, Michael Harris has changed the team in so many different ways. Just think about some of the, I don't know if you can hear that church bell ringing outside my house. There's a church right next to my house, and every day they decide to ring a bell. And it's Sunday. So, anyways, back to Michael Harris. He's made some incredible defensive plays. That first play that he made, where he caught it with his left hand and then threw it into his glove, it was like, how did you do that? Like, that was crazy. But he's had other plays. He made one in Arizona. He made the one where Andrew Jones was sitting in the stands at Truist Park, and even Andrew Jones was like, "What the fuck just happened?" and that wasn't even a play he had to dive on.
Yeah, he just kept running and
he just kept, and then he made another one that was kind of like that he made it kind of look easy, but he should have never got to that ball.
Yeah, I think that's the thing too with him is like his jumps are good and like his reads and everything that it seems like, okay, he caught that. And it's like, no, it's actually a hard play. Like I remember his first game I missed and I had asked like, how'd he look? Did he make any outs that weren't just stuff? And people were like, he kind of makes stuff look routine. That might not be. So it's hard to say.
Yeah. And he had that little single in his first game. His first hit came off Sandy Alcantara, by the way. So, I mean, that I would put that up in the mantle. I'd probably take it to Sandy and be like, hey, can you sign this? Like, I mean, that's what I would do.
That's funny.
But yeah, he's just like, he changes the game defensively because our outfield no longer has Marcell Ozuna playing left field. And for a while we had Beaneater, and Beaneater made some incredible plays. I mean, he was solid defensively. The bat just,
the shine kind of wore off.
It just disappeared. Yeah, the shine wore off. That's a great way to put it.
But even in just yesterday, for example, or maybe it was yesterday or Friday, but somebody hit a ball and they just stayed at first base. I think it was Contreras. It's like that should have been a double, but with Duvall's arm, he stayed at first base. And that's an example with Ozuna's arm. Everyone's going to second on a hit like that.
Oh, yeah, dude.
But to have a guy in left field who can actually has a cannon, then you're like, oh, wait a second. And it's things like that people don't realize are different, now that Harris is in center field. To have like three guys in our outfield that have been center fielders at some point is a huge deal.
That is pretty crazy. We have three center fielders playing in the outfield right now. And it's benefiting Adam Duvall significantly to not be playing center field every day. I think he's hit like 6 homers.
Yeah, not a coincidence.
And I mean, like, it just, Michael Harris changes the game. He changes the lineup because even if he's not, how do I say this? Even if he's not crushing the ball everywhere, he seems to be one of those guys that just finds a way to get on base. And
with his speed, it's a threat too.
And that's what I was saying. And his speed, like, he's in the 9 hole. Even if he gets on with 2 outs, he finds a way to get on with 2 outs. A little bleeder, into center field, a little, hot shot, whatever, little poke to left field to beat the shift. And then he steals second base. Ronald Acuña's batting behind him.
Yeah.
So, you really, like, even with 2 outs, with those 3 guys, with Dansby behind Ronald, you're thinking, hey, we've still got a shot here. We could still put up 2 runs, 3 runs.
It's kind of wild that just like there's nobody in this lineup that you get a break.
Nobody. I know a lot of people are hating on Ozuna right now.
Well, I was too.
But
he frustrates me. But no, he's been better. He's been better. Yes, I know he has
credit for. Now, don't get me wrong. His OPS is still under 700. So it's not like I'm ringing that bell saying this guy needs to be in the 4 hole, which is where Snit put him yesterday.
Yeah, I was questioned that.
I was like, what are we doing right now? Why is he in the 4 hole? And however, I don't think that Marcell Ozuna is just completely useless. He's still on track to hit like 30 homers.
Yeah, I think the thing is with him is because he doesn't provide any value on defense. It's like his values to hit. Yeah. So it's like if he's not doing it consistently, it just feels like, okay, well, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? That's kind of where I am with it. Whereas a guy like Ozzy, who maybe he has some frustrating at bats, but like
his defensive,
he's a hell of a defender. So you're like, okay, that's his value. So that's kind of frustrating with me.
And the biggest problem there with Ozuna was when his worst stretch came, it was when he was still having to play the outfield. Mm-hmm. So like this guy's giving you nothing at the plate and he's giving you negative in the outfield. Yeah. You're losing games because of his arm. Mm-hmm. I mean, there was, how many games were there that like we lost like maybe 1-2 runs, and there was a play that you could point to where it was like, okay, that ball just got hit to left. That runner from second is going to score on that, little bleeder to left, because when Ozuna picks that ball up, it's going to take him 10 minutes to get it to home plate.
I mean, just that first game in Arizona where he like slid and didn't catch that ball that would have been the third out and led to a 3-run homer. Yes. Just that, I'm like, that's a game we should have won.
And all that, and that didn't count as an error, right? But it should have. Mm-hmm.
Right, and that's where you look at ERA and you're like, oh my God, all those runs are earned for Spencer, but it's like
on Spencer, yeah. Now they did go back in that game. I don't know if you noticed, if you read this, but later in the game, remember Olsen kind of waffled that ball, just tried to catch it and just closed his glove too early.
Yeah,
and the runs, I think there was like 2 more runs that scored behind that, and they went back. MLB came back and said, no. There are times when you can assume a double play. So they gave Olsen an error on that play.
Yeah, that's an error.
I've never in my life have I heard of them doing that.
Yeah, that you can't assume a double play thing is stupid. It's like, that was a double play.
No, you can assume a double play if the ball is hitting.
If a little leaguer can catch that ball,
So that was really cool of them to do that, because it lowered Strider's ERA by like half a run or something like that. It was just like crazy.
At that point, 1 run's a big deal. When you haven't pitched that many innings.
And we lost that game.
And it's like, I think it was 3 runs after Ozuna's non-error and 3 runs after.
It was.
I think we lost like 6-2 or something. That was like the beginning of like okay.
Yeah.
Get your heads out of your asses. It was just like everything about that game was horrible. Yeah.
Well, what was so annoying about it was that was when they were still going with the whole, Ronald Acuna can't play right field every day, so let's DH him. And honestly, there was kind of a point where I got to like, if he can't play in the outfield, don't play him. Let him sit that day.
Yeah.
Because you're allowing people to play in the outfield that are hurting us.
Yeah.
We have as good of a chance to win a game without Ronald Acuna. Okay, I'll say this. We have as good of a chance to win a game if Ronald Acuna is just sitting on the bench, not DHing or anything. But you have Heredia playing left field than you do if Ronald is DHing and Marcell Ozuna is playing left field.
I agree. And I think that was pretty much the last straw. That game, that series. I think it was pretty much like, we have to either Ronald's playing every day, like they have to figure something out. And he's pretty much been playing every day since then.
And I'm maybe mistaken. I don't think that Ozuna has played the outfield since then, has he?
He may have in Colorado. Why do I feel like there was one game?
If he did, that is asinine. That would
he
be
did.
Really dumb.
He did that first game in Colorado. He
oh
was
my
in
God,
left field.
He did.
But they were still DHing Acuna, and I think that was when they were. I mean, we won that game obviously, but I don't think since then that he has.
Yeah, I mean,
DH'd the next day.
No, I'm right there with you. In a game we score 13 runs, I don't care who's in the outfield. Like whatever. But we can't do that every game.
Mm-hmm. You can't guarantee that's going to happen.
Yeah. So.
And in Coors, those balls are always moving. You never know.
Oh, dude, that ballpark is crazy. Like, and let's just highlight that for a second. The first time ever, 1993 was 29 years ago. That's like almost my entire life, almost. I don't even know how old you are, so but I assume you're around my age. It's probably pretty much close to your entire life.
Yeah, I'm older than you. I'll be 35 next month.
Oh, well, you're not that much. I'll be 32. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I'm older than you.
But yeah, 29 is the majority of my life. 29 years. We have never swept a series in Colorado.
And this was a 4-game series, no less.
Yeah. Or maybe that's what it was. Never swept a 4-game series in Colorado.
But either way, like, yeah, that's hard to do.
But 29 years, we play a series in Colorado every year for 29 years. Like that's.
Yeah, I feel like that was
a
big deal.
That's why when people were saying, "Well, you played the Rockies and the Diamondbacks and the Pirates and blah blah blah." Yeah, okay. When's the last time you swept a 4-game?
Mets didn't sweep the Rockies in Colorado.
No,
this season they were there.
They did not.
The Rockies took one of a 3-game. So what are you going to tell us? That it's just that people like to troll. Obviously, I know that, but like,
I get that. Yeah,
I don't care who you're playing on the road. 4-game sweep against a team that's good at home is impressive. Don't care. Do not care. F the haters.
Yeah. And I mean, like, of course they're out there. They're going to be, we troll. We do it. I mean, we do. Yeah. But there's also levels people take it, to levels it shouldn't go. Like the comment I saw to you last night. Why don't you go make me a sandwich? Dude, I wanted to jump in my phone at that guy.
Yeah, like to me, like lighthearted, fun trolling to me is like, all right, this is fun. Like I do it to an extent. Like I'm not rude. I've never crossed that line.
Yeah.
Where it's actually like, sometimes it's like, relax. Like this is a game. Okay. Like we're all having fun.
Yeah.
It's not that serious.
So one member of Mets Twitter called me inbred yesterday.
I saw that.
And one member told you to go. I know I saw that. And then one member told you to go make a sandwich. So look,
and not to say there aren't members of Braves Twitter that
there
can be that way, but it's like, come on.
Did you see the Juneteenth post this morning?
The Braves post about Juneteenth?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't see. No, I didn't see that. I haven't been on Twitter today.
Lord.
Oh gosh.
The comments.
Well, that's like even like when with the joking, like the for the gay and like the Pride Month stuff, people get so offended at you just saying something about like,
dude,
12-0 in Pride Month. Oh my gosh, no, why would you point that out? It's like, why are you offended by us just literally speaking a fact?
That those people were sitting at home like, I hope the Braves lose today. I just hope that they were, because like, like fuck those people. Like, you really care that much about something that has
nothing to do with you.
Fucking like, you could literally just be like, oh, okay, it's Pride Month.
Yeah.
And go about your day and just completely act like it doesn't exist. If that's who you are, whatever. But I mean, there was people like they felt like they had to get out there and say disrespectful things. And it's just like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of the same thing that went on with them posting about Juneteenth.
I don't even know if I want to look then. Yeah.
You don't, trust me. It's pretty like, but there were some valiant people in there who were like,
yeah, I appreciate the subset of people that,
I'm not gonna lie, I got in on that. And like, anything that I saw where like, it was anybody who was like upset about it, I was just like, racist.
Downvote.
Like, that's all I said, racist, and just moved on. Like, so yeah, it's upsetting. But yes, trolling happens. So I get in. Of course, Mets fans don't want to believe the Braves are good, because look what the Braves have done to them every year for 30 years.
And it's like, and I it's so funny because I said this to someone the other day. I was like, ask any like Met fan who's not just a troll on Twitter how they actually, and they will tell you, yes, we're worried about the Braves. Like my two best friends are Mets fans, die hard. And if I actually ask them, like, I'm asking you honestly, like, are you worried that the Braves will catch up to the Mets or have a shot at the division? They will be like, yes, absolutely.
And I bet they're very nice people.
Yes, they're wonderful.
I bet they're very nice.
And that's the thing too. Like I Mets fans in general, I've been to plenty of Mets games. Obviously, I live in New Jersey, so those are the games I can go to most readily. And I've never had a problem.
Yeah, I've actually heard that if you go to a game at Citi Field, most of the fans are very nice people.
Yeah, it's on the internet. People can be annoying, but I even went to a game in Philly, and I had no problem at all. I was openly rooting for the Braves.
That's shocking to me.
Yeah, and I had no issue. So I think that the internet makes you think a lot of things about fan bases, but I've never had a problem. Dodger Stadium I went to didn't have a problem, but
see, that's really, you went to Dodger Stadium. Was it nice?
It was very cool. Yeah, I was out there for my friend, my one Mets fan friend. She now lives in California and she got married. So I was out there and the Braves happened to be like out there at the same time.
Oh, okay. So you got to see the Braves play out there.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was the I don't know. It was in 2019. I don't know if you remember. They swept us, of course, because we are stuck at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, that was
the game that Hyunjin Ryu like nearly no hit us.
Oh yeah, you were at that game?
That game and the game before it. So there wasn't really a ton to cheer about. I know Nick Markakis hit a home run and Freddie hit a home run in the first game. Other than that, there was really, I was kind of like, I'm going to close up my
That was a rough series. And that was very early on. That was like before Josh Donaldson got hot and like, So it was.
Yeah, but it was very cool to be there. Very cool to be there.
2019. That feels like a lost season, doesn't it? I mean, just.
It was so good, man. I hate just thinking about that 2019. Again, this is an entirely like separate conversation, but
that's fine.
2019, the postseason to me hurts more than 2020 did.
Oh, dude. Oh my God.
Way more.
And like, it was like first game felt like we should have won, but Melanson just imploded.
To me, that's one of those, what happens if Chris Martin doesn't get hurt?
Dude, if Chris Martin doesn't get hurt, I think we win the World Series that year.
I think so too. Or if just we switched up the pitching, if Dallas Keuchel didn't start 2 games, one of them on short rest, like those little things where I just think.
That. Yeah. I don't understand why the thought process was, okay, we're going to sign Dallas Keuchel. Okay, we got this guy. He's our ace.
Yeah, because he had the experience in October. That was the big thing. It was like, he's like the October guy.
Yeah.
Like we got him because of how he plays in October.
Him and BMAC have worked together before. I don't care. BMAC's worked with every guy on that staff. What are you talking about? Like, have you seen Mike Soroka? That guy's pretty good. And yeah.
Fried only pitched in like game 5 and like mop up. It's like, come on.
How do we not let Max Fried pitch?
I think he was 17-4 that year. He won
17 games that year. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Pitchers wins, whatever. It's fucking
joke. But still, it just shows that he gets.
But if you have 17 of them, you have 17 of them.
Something's working when Max is on the mound.
Yeah, like.
I know. It still hurts, even though we've won the World Series.
I know. Look how upset we're getting about it, and we could talk about the 2020 postseason and be like, "Yeah, shit happens." Like, it sucked, but it was what it was. But 2019, dude, it's just still because we absolutely owned the Washington Nationals that season, owned them.
Yeah, and it would have been game 1 at home, and it's like the pitching decisions, whatever, but Ronnie had a lead-off triple. And nobody could bring him home.
And nobody
could even hit a sac fly. That game that was game 4. We would have won that game if anyone at all could have made enough contact to bring him home.
And when he hit that lead-off
triple, have to go to an embarrassing.
I was like, that's it. We're winning this game, dude. This is over. Like a lead-off triple, like you should be able to get that run home, at least one. You get a leadoff triple, you should be in your head immediately thinking, let's get 2 or 3 here. We didn't get 1. And
then it led to the embarrassment of game 5. Like, that's on you. I'm still mad 3 years later about that series.
Oh yeah, me too.
So I know it's like there's so many little things that I just look at and I'm like,
I may have told you this before. Did I tell you what I did during game 5?
I don't know.
Okay, so first inning, I sit down and I'm hyped, dude. I took the day off of work and everything. And I'm like, yeah, and like all my friends at work knew why I took the day off. So all of them are like watching box scores to see like what's happening. And the first couple runs score, and I'm like, oh, we're in a hole already. Like, this sucks. And then it just keeps going. And then the double play ball that Freddie drops. And I'm like, oh my God, what in the fuck is happening right now? So the 4th run scores. I'm so mad that I literally just walk out my back door and just start walking. And I went walking around the neighborhood. And I'm just like, I'm so mad. I know it was probably hilarious. Like, if anybody in the neighborhood saw me, they were like, what the fuck is wrong with that guy? Because I'm like walking like that. I was so mad, dude, because it's just like like going into game 5, it was like, this is ours. Like, we have to do this. We have Fulte on the mound. Fulte absolutely just owned the Cardinals in game 2. Like,
we're home.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I get back to the house. Okay, I was probably gone 5-10 minutes. I get back to the house and I walk in. My wife's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm really mad." And she's like, "Yeah. What was the score when you left?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "What was the score when you left?" I was like, "It was 4-0." She was like, "Oh." I was like, "What's the score now?" She said, "It's 10-0." And I was just like, "What?" Oh, dude. It was the worst day of my life. And then I just sat there like this for 3 hours. And I watched every pitch. Every single.
Well, this is what's funny about that.
So heartbreaking to watch.
Like, I had the game, I think was at like 5 or something, and I had an appointment with my therapist at 5. So I was gonna miss the beginning of the game. So I got into my car. It's like whatever, 6 o'clock. I see I had a whole bunch of texts. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take a deep breath and I'm gonna check the score. Checked it and it was like 12-1 or whatever at that point. And I never turned it on.
Really?
I was like, what the fuck happened? Like, I'd text from my mom, I'd text from my friends, like, what is going on in this game? And I never.
And you just left the therapist. It's like, don't turn the game on. Don't, whatever positive like movement
I guess that
you
was
just
the best
made
place
in your
for
life.
me to be, was like with my therapist for that. Yeah, it was just like
crap.
So I did finally, I guess it was last year, I was like, I need to watch that game and kind of exercise the demons.
And just see how it unfolded. Yeah. And
I'm
even
won the World Series.
Yeah. Even Max coming into that game, it just like.
Yeah, what a disaster.
Yeah. And like, it was like even Max couldn't get outs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was just like, and before that he had been unstoppable.
Mm-hmm. What a game, man. What a series.
All right. So
anyway, after the tangent. Yep.
So we talked about the Rockies series. 4-game sweep there. Then we came home. We had 2 against the A's. And that, it's weird because it felt like we won that series so easily. But now that I look back on it, one of the games was a 1-run win.
Mm-hmm. 3 solo homers.
Yeah.
And that Heredia homer was later than I thought. For some reason, I thought that was earlier in the game.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it was in the 7th, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, we started out. What's weird is both of those games, the A's scored 2 runs in the first inning.
Mm-hmm. And we were down 2-0 in both of those games. Oh, no, actually, no, we were down 2-0 in both games, but the second game they didn't score to the 4th, but we were still down.
Oh, you're right. I thought it was the first.
At some point. Yeah.
Wow. I just pulled it up and it showed a clip of Michael Harris getting a big hit down the line. And it was,
that's right. He hit
the triple. Yeah.
Yes.
But it was before he dropped his hands. And now I see how much differently he looks at the plate. That was interesting. So, anyways, that's one thing that we should say about Michael Harris. That people keep comparing him to Jason Hayward. I think that's a fair comparison. The only difference is I think that he has the ability to adjust that Hayward just never would do. Hayward has the same batting stance now that he has when he came up in 2010, basically. Still the little bat on the shoulder thing. And that hurt him so bad because like he was never in a good position to hit because like it's hard to get timing down with something weird like that. And I mean, I think it makes sense. I mean, defensively, he's definitely in the same category as Hayward, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, Hayward was always a good defender.
And offensively, like, I don't know, just everything about that kid impresses me so much. He just like comes up, like you're supposed to be this star, like everybody's been waiting to see you, and like you would think that there's going to be some pressure there. You're playing in your hometown, like you grew up right down the street.
That's so cool to me too. Like I'm just like,
yeah,
how
like
awesome is that?
Dude, that has to be the fucking best thing ever. Like he talks about being in the stands for the Grand Slam that Acuna hit in the postseason. He was in the stands last year for the postseason. He was there at the World Series in the stands, like, and then now he's here playing for us. And it's just like, that's so fucking cool. But then for him to come up and just like, there's a ton of pressure there, but he's handled it so well. Not only has he handled it well, he's performing like an all-star.
Yeah. It's not like, oh, he's just gone on defense. He's got, I think, like a 7-game hitting streak or something going. Like he's hitting he's got like multi-hit games, several of them already.
Oh, yeah. Like,
it's like
6 or 7.
It's very impressive what he's doing.
Hold on. I'm going to go look at his.
I know he had 2 hits yesterday. Another thing I want to say, I know we were talking about Harris being from here, but like the other thing that warms my heart is like Matt Olson. Obviously the A's were in town. He has some friends and he like had some of them over for dinner. And to me, I'm just
dude,
I love that for Matt Olson that he just gets to like, when he comes home, he just gets to be home. Like to me, that makes me really happy. Like that he's just like, okay, cool. I get to go to like my house that I was going to live in anyway.
Yeah. I think about that for baseball players a lot. That's gotta be hard. Like you just like, especially like relievers.
Yeah.
Like who might pitch in a different city every year or every 2 years or
twice
whatever.
A year, even if they get traded.
Like,
yeah.
Like in that point, like you don't like, if you sign a 2-year deal, you're not going to move to that place to be there for 2 years. You're not going to uproot your whole family. So majority of the year, you're away from your family, period. Because like your family's back, say a guy plays for Atlanta, but he's from California and he's only going to be here 2 years. Like, unless he's like Matt Olson or Will Smith or Colin McHugh, or I mean, the list of people from Atlanta,
we got several of them now, the homegrown type of guys.
Long, yeah. Unless you're from that area, like you're not going to buy a house there. You're going to leave your family where you live. And like, I just think that's hard for players. And for Harris to like just come up and just whatever, dude, he's got an 865 OPS right now. That's sure, it's 74 at bats, whatever. I had somebody tell me the other day, like, you don't know that he's going to hit. And I'm like, well, he's hitting now. So I'm happy with that. And if he's hitting now, sure, pitchers are going to adjust. But he's already made one major adjustment since he got here.
And it's like you were saying, I mean, he's hitting
back
the
into
all
Harris,
fields.
but whatever,
Yeah.
Like,
I know. Yeah. Like he's just like a hitter. Like it's like he just can like, which is great. Like we said, ahead of Acuna and Dansby. Like, so it's like the pitchers might make an adjustment, but it's not like when Riley came up and he was just popping a bunch of home runs and then they made an adjustment and he just kind of stopped. Just fell off. So I feel like this is different. I don't know, just the type of hitter that he seems to be. But yeah, it's been very fun to watch him.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Speaking of Austin Riley, okay, Austin Riley's had a couple rough stretches this year. After the baby was born, it seemed like he had a little bit of that, like, I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life right now. Everything's going great. Somebody's paying me millions of dollars to play baseball, like whatever. And then, oh yeah, by the way, just in the last couple of weeks, Austin Riley actually lost his arbitration case against the Braves.
Oh, did he? I didn't see that. I saw some of the news on some of that stuff.
Fuck, that's possible.
They need to just sign him to a long-term deal.
Dude, yeah, but how the hell did this dude went from, is he gonna be good enough to stay, to, oh yeah, he's almost an MVP.
To thank God we didn't trade for Jose Ramirez.
Oh my God. Like, could you think about that? Like, I mean, thank God we didn't. And you know what? Good for the Guardians extending him because that dude's awesome.
Did you see the clip of him talking to Freddie the other night?
Yes, it was hilarious.
I watched it so many times that I was laughing.
It's so great.
After me.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
But he's right. He's definitely right. That dude is one of the best hitters in the game. Wow, that's not exactly what I expected. Interesting. So Riley has cooled off quite a bit recently.
Yeah, he's had some rough at bats. I know he had the 2 homers in Washington.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to look at the 15 games, which is basically the whole stretch of the, whatever. And he's got 5 homers in that 15 game stretch. 5 homers, 12 RBIs, 21 Ks though. That's a lot.
Yeah, he's got somewhere you're just like, what?
Yeah.
What are you swinging at?
What's weird is he's only got it's still not bad considering. So he's only hitting 230 in those 15 games. So he's got a 294 on base. I mean, that's not a great on base, don't get me wrong, but it's still 60 points over.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he was taking a few walks, I guess, 3 walks in those 15 games. Okay, 3 walks in 15 games isn't good. Yeah.
No, that's odd. That's Ozzy like.
Yeah. Is it though?
Will Ozzy even take 3 walks? Does he walk that much?
Has he walked 3 times this year? So we can dive into that also.
Let's. I just want to not skip over the Pirate series. Might as well just kind of go. Because that was another fun. That was another
4-game sweep,
which we did in 2019. We swept the Pirates at home in 4 games.
I don't.
Which, regardless of the team, that's hard to do.
Yeah.
And that's
when I remember that. That's
the Musgrove thing.
The Musgrove incident happened, and then
that fired us up. That's what we needed.
Josh Donaldson turned his entire career around. He turned that Joe Musgrove incident into $100 million. So good for him, because he can't stay healthy. He can't stay on the field. So, but
that's true. But one game I wanted to point out is the game where Charlie pitched and had 12 strikeouts, which is just like, what?
Yeah, it's game 3. Has to be game 3 because he gave up 4 runs. That's the only game they scored 4 runs in.
Did I lose you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but your video is. Okay. Oh, now you're good.
Okay.
That was weird. You froze for a moment.
Okay.
But you're good.
It says my internet connection is unstable. Okay.
Oh, that sucks.
So you heard what I was saying now?
Yeah.
You were just frozen for me. I was like, oh my God. But this is like, so we scored 8 runs in the 7th. This is a game we're down 4-2 late. You're just like, oh, come on. Like, you're not going to do this. Ozzy hits the grand slam. I feel like they've been over that win streak. They were scoring runs and then scoring more runs. A lot of games earlier in the season, they'd score runs early and kind of stop, and then they'd lose games because the other team was scoring late. And I feel like we've seen a lot where they're like not stopping.
Right.
And Washington, that happened every game.
And that's why I'm so ready to get the fuck out of Wrigley.
So that's it. Score 8 runs. I couldn't watch the end of that game. And I remember I saw like the notifications, grand slam, Dansby Princess. I was like, what is happening?
That game
that was so exciting.
Insane. Like I was sitting at home. I got to actually watch that game. It was last Saturday. So I'm watching the game and like literally that's what I'm thinking is like, this is how this is going to end. This streak is going to end because we're going to lose to the Pirates in a game that we should easily be able to outscore them. They've only scored 4 runs. And Charlie looked great.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie looked great but I mean, what did he give up 3 homers in that game? Or was it 2?
It was like the 2 solos.
2 solos in the first
inning, but then we tied it the same way.
Yeah, but what happened in the 5th?
Brian Reynolds happened, I'm sure.
Brian Reynolds, yes. That's hilarious.
I think he had a double. I think Hayes hit a double.
Yeah, that's so funny. You said that. That dude's just unreal against us. He is Mike Trout against us.
He's a tremendous player when he's against. I mean, I think he's a good player overall, but it's just like, wow, he just kills us.
He just destroys us.
There's those players that it's just like,
Charlie had a great game going, 12 strikeouts.
I was like, that is absurd.
Yeah.
It's like the guys he didn't give up hits to, he struck out.
If you looked at his stat line, you're like, how is that even possible? Yeah. Hold on, because I remember posting it on Twitter and I was like, how in the hell does this stat line give up 4 runs? Hold on. It was 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 walk, 12 strikeouts.
Yeah. Obviously runs. 2 solo home runs accounts for 2 of those hits.
Yeah. And 2
but then 2 doubles,
that's nothing. It's like, yeah. So
ultimately really wasn't that bad of a game by him.
And that's the thing. Like, we saw in that game what was coming from Charlie and what came in Chicago from Charlie. And we lost that game. Dude, I felt so bad for Charlie. I was like, dude, like, you've been struggling all year. We've been winning every game you pitch, and you sucked. And you go out and throw possibly one of the best games of his career. Was how good he looked on the other day. And then just
hashtag baseball.
Poor Charlie. Yeah, it's baseball. Yeah, it is.
But yeah, I guess we can get to watch the Washington series now, and we can start with the Ozzy thing.
Yeah, Washington series was another. We just steamrolled Washington,
dude.
I mean,
and that was another example. It's like we were up, then they'd bring it closer, and then we were like, haha, never mind, you're in the rear view. Like, we'd score 4 more runs.
Let me see if this was a DM. Was this a DM? Hold on.
Like, we were up 6-0, then it was 6-4 in that first game, and we're like, come on. And then it was like 9-5 final score. It was just like,
hold on, I'm trying to find something. Where'd it go? Okay. Oh, okay. All right. So, do you know the guy who used to be Nats fanatic?
Possibly.
Yeah.
And I see some Nats fans on Twitter interact with you.
Yeah, he's a really cool dude. Like, really nice guy. Like, he's level-headed. He's the opposing fan that you want to talk with all the time. I've got a few Marlins fans like that. I do not know a single Phillies fan like that. I know a few Mets fans like that. But Nationals and Marlins fans seem to be so grounded, and the Nats, sure, they've had some success, but they're also realistic. So I was just messing with this guy, and I messaged him before the series because we were just on fire. And I just messaged him and I said, where'd it go? I just had it. Where'd it go? What the fuck? There it is. I said, sir, I'd like to apologize for the coming onslaught you may have to endure this week. And he was just like so cool about it. He was like, yeah, you're probably right. He's like, we're going to get destroyed. And of course, won the first game, 9-4?
9-5.
9-5. And then
10-4.
10-4. And then
8-2. I mean, we're just,
that's what I'm saying.
It was beautiful. It wasn't no
them.
Close games. It was like there were some nail biters at some point because it was closer, but then it was just like we just blew it open. It's like those are the kind of games you just need sometimes, and you're like, yeah, this offense can.
Yeah, we hit 13 home runs in that series.
How many times they went back to back? Michael Harris hit his first career home run.
First 2 career home runs.
I was saying, and then he hit another one. He was like, "Hey guys, for good measure."
Like, oh, is it gonna get out? Is it gonna get out? And it went over, and it was just like everybody was all stoked. The second one he hit was a no doubter. And I don't know how he hit that ball. Like it was his first homer.
From where the pitch was.
Yeah, his first homer was just like, how did he do that?
Yeah,
it looked like for you to even be able to get the bat on that was like, oh, okay, cool. Like maybe he's gonna bloop a single or something. Or no, he hit it into the bullpen, and it was like, wow, that's impressive. Like, and then he did. The second homer, I think, was on a 1-2 count. Like, the maturity is just unreal. I could talk. We could do a whole Michael Harris podcast. I mean, it's just crazy how good he's been.
Yeah, it's been excellent. But obviously, the hard part of the National Series was losing Ozzy for at least 60 days.
Yep.
I feel like what it ended up being was somewhere in between I was like, oh, maybe a twisted ankle, but I was like, oh God, I think it's an Achilles. So for it to just be in between there so that we might get him back this season, I'm like, okay, we just kind of have to cover that for 2 months.
I mean, I knew right away that something wasn't right because
I thought it was his Achilles. The way his back, like his heel came down, I said, oh, that's his Achilles. I thought he ruptured.
You were not the first person to say that. I mean, a bunch of people were saying that. And I didn't really see the clip that well. I believe, I was at work and I was welding a truck at the time. So I was just listening. Mm-hmm. So when it happened, I was listening and I was like, oh shit. Like, mm-hmm. And then I got back to my phone. And as I got back to my phone, I see Ozzy like limping into the dugout. And I was like, oh shit. Like Ozzy doesn't do that. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, we've seen him come out of a few games. That one time he fouled a ball off his kneecap.
Was that when he had to get carried off? Yeah. And he missed like 2 games and then he was back.
Yeah, we were like, oh, okay, he's back. No. And then, he was back like 2 days later. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah. But it was just like, I was like, the dark, that it was like, what would have been ball 4? Like Ozzy swinging at a ball he shouldn't have swung at, of course, leads to him breaking his foot.
And honestly,
like there's like the dark humor of it all, because like
it was such a soft.
What are you doing swinging at that?
Ground ball to the shortstop. It would have been a hit if Ozzy didn't get hurt, because Ozzy's so fast. It would have been a hit. It sucks to lose Ozzy, man. I will say this: the more I've thought about it, I'm not a huge fan of Arcia long term.
I don't know that
big
role. I think they're going to give him a few weeks. Obviously he hit those 2 runs kind of came out hot, but I don't know if this is going to be something where he's out for 3 months. I don't know that they're going to, especially with the trade deadline, like
there's no way.
Give it 4 weeks and then say, okay, now we're at the All-Star break. Now let's see what we can get. I don't think it was going to be like an immediate trade for somebody because they have Arcia. But I think if he doesn't keep hitting, or if he's not, that great out there, and I think they will look for something else.
And I mean, Alex Anthopoulos said this week, even though he knows Rosario and Albies will both be back at some point, he still wants another left-handed bat. Mm-hmm. And it's like, wow. And
it's good to have the options, I think.
He didn't say, I just want a left-handed bench bat. He said, I want to add another left-handed bat to this lineup.
We need one.
Where are we going to put it, though?
Yeah.
That's my question. It's like,
because I guess it depends who they get. Say, for an example, Adam Frazier, right? He's a second baseman. He's
crazy.
A lefty.
I was just about to say that.
Arcia's a righty. Rougned Odor. But just as an example, like a guy that like, okay, against lefties, you put Arcia in there. Against righties, you put the other guy in there. Like you don't have to put the same guys in the same lineup every day. Like you look like the Dodgers, like maybe not so much this year but like in years past, they'd put like, okay, this is lineup against this is lineup against this pitcher. Yeah, I don't know. But I guess just to know you have the options of doing that.
Yeah. And the depth is pretty great. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking Arcia. He's been great.
I mean, he was an everyday player on a playoff team in Milwaukee. Like to have him on the bench to like just take over for Ozzy is pretty good. You know what I mean? It's not like, okay, now it's Travis Demeritte playing every day. Arcia he's a good defender. He's got a good arm, and now he's in second base with that shortstop arm.
Yeah, so, and I mean, he plays a good second base too. Like that's one thing I was concerned about was like, how much experience does he have at second base? And then somebody told me, oh, he's got. Sorry, I'm a little uncomfortable with my groin pull here. So. For those, okay, so I guess I'll just say, I pulled my groin skateboarding and now I'm hurt. So, but for, somebody pointed out to me that Arcia has over 400 innings at second base in the minors. So I was like, oh, well, that's not bad. Mm-hmm. I was worried about him being like comfortable around the bag. Like that's 2 different, like you're coming at the base from 2 different ways. From shortstop and second base. And sure, guys are shifting all over the place, whatever. Like he's probably played somewhere close to second base as a shortstop in the shift when he was with Milwaukee and whatever. But to play it every day and to be right there and be that guy and have to go in and create this double play combo, which there's no better double play combo in the game than Dansby Swanson and Ozzy Albies. There's just not. Like, are there more talented players and possibly better defenders in that area? Sure, yes. But as a duo, like, nobody meshes the way that
There was one they turned, I forget which game it was, but it was just so flawlessly turned. It was just the most beautiful double.
It's like they know each other so well, and they've played together for so long that they almost read each other's minds out there.
Yeah, and that's what Dansby was saying after he got hurt in his interview with Kelly. It's like, he's like my brother. Like,
he said, I lost my little brother.
All these levels together. It's like, at this point, it's seamless between the two of them. So and that to me, I think was the bigger thing, was the defensive side of it, because I love Ozzy, but you look at his bat, sometimes what it was hitting like 225. Sometimes his at bats can be kind of frustrating. It's not like on the offensive side losing a player the caliber of Acuna.
Yeah, I wasn't worried about the lineup at all.
Yeah. So I'm like, as long as Arcia can hit 220 or something, put up decent at bats, pop some homers, that's fine. It's more the defense where I was like, that's a big deal. We have to figure out.
But he has looked fairly well there. He's made a couple
I agree.
errors,
I think
or just one error. I know he made.
I remember that first game, or it might have been the same game Ozzy got hurt. It was like there was a couple balls that got hit right to him that he kind of misplayed. Yeah, and that's why I was like, oh, I don't know about this. This is not going to be good. And Thupless had his hand on the phone, like, I don't know. Apparently, he was like, he's like, what are y'all doing out there in Seattle, DeBoto? But yeah, he just kind of rolled it over, and apparently it snapped something. He's had surgery. You could see the way he landed. It was like he landed and then landed again. So it was almost like something snapped. Like, it was just like, I don't know why I watch stuff like that, but I was trying to figure out exactly where it happened, and you could kind of see the way he landed. Yeah, I don't. It was like the front of his foot. Yeah, it sucks, bothers me. Like, do you remember a couple of years ago when Josh Naylor broke his leg? Oh man, that was terrific. Oh, yeah. That was just like, it was one of those things you just can't look away. But like, those things bother me. Like, I just can't look at them. But of course, at the same time, you hear about it, you're like, I gotta go see what happened to this guy. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm the same way. Where I'm like, was there a video? It's just like, nobody wants to share that, but I'm like, but I want to see. We're terrible people, but morbid. Yeah. It's the people who are out there retweeting it and shit that I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? Like, this poor guy, like, do it in your own time. His career might be over, and you're like, dude, look how fucked his leg is, man. Like, it just not for me. Yeah, but when I was younger, I was at a skate park in Pensacola one time, and this kid broke his arm, and it was like pretty gnarly. And it was like, ooh, hanging off like that. Like, it was. Oh no. And I mean, he was taking it like a champ, dude. He was acting like, he was crying a little bit. He was only like 10 years old, but oh my God. And ever since I saw that, like, and it was just like the bone was just barely sticking out. So it was just like, just barely breaking the skin. There was a little bit of blood. And like, even that little tiny little bit of blood, I was like, oh God. Yeah, it just freaks me out. So can't stomach it. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't really look too closely because that stuff bothers me. But from what I saw, honestly, it did look like he just kind of rolled his ankle. But clearly there was more than that, and required surgery. Yeah, I mean, it was immediate 60-day, which tells me they're probably thinking 8 to 12 weeks. Yeah. But I don't think have you seen like a timeline? I don't think I've seen one yet of like what they're expecting. They haven't said anything. So actually, there's some orthopedic surgeon on there, and this is another one of my friends from a different fan base, Marlins guy. I said something about that, like, hey, has anybody said anything about how long this is going to take with Ozzy or what? And this dude tagged this like famous orthopedic surgeon in it, and he actually responded.
And he was like, well, he's like, I looked at like the injury and I know that surgery. And he said, and honestly, there's no way to give an accurate timetable until they know how the bones have set and stuff. And he said, and that takes a few weeks.
Yeah. So, Ozzy's delicate little feet.
Yeah. So now they did say he would be back this year though.
Yeah.
So that
I mean, it's only June. So, even if he comes back for the stretch run in September, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And that tells me that, the doctor, whoever did the surgery,
the same one who did Soroka's.
Was it really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck. Shit. I don't like
but
that.
Soroka went back to him for his second surgery.
I know. I thought
He's
that
world
was a
renowned.
little bit...
I think it's just the juju of it.
Yeah, it is. And that's like when I found out Soroka went back to the same surgeon, I was like,
wait, hold on a second. What?
Why?
Yeah.
Clearly he didn't do such a great job.
I saw Green Bay. I'm like, was that the guy? Yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
but yeah, I know with like Soroka and Ronnie, it was basically like when they announced that they were like, they're done for the season. And obviously they didn't with Ozzy. So I think they do expect him at some point. So assuming all goes well with the rehab and the
dude, I knew immediately with both Soroka and Acuna. I knew what the injury was immediately. I knew the timetables on those things. I knew they were done.
I with Ronnie, I just didn't want to even. I was like, no, he twisted it. I was like, nope. And it was like, I was so upset after the Ronnie.
I've had
I cried a lot. I don't know why it affected me. I guess I love him so much.
Oh,
it was right before the All-Star break. He was going to be the starting. Right, just like I felt, I was so upset.
Yeah, I was pretty upset
over it. I was just like, I couldn't. So yeah,
when he went down and I saw it buckle, when I was 17, no, I was 16. I was skating in a demo. I used to be a pro-am skater, by the way. I don't know.
Nice.
So I did a lot of traveling, skating demos, stuff like that. I was skating in a demo. It was in my hometown, actually. It was awesome. We'd been waiting on this park for like 8 years. They finally opened it. And like this day, I was on the front cover of the newspaper, like, because I got to do a private photo shoot before the park opened. And it was like all this bad juju, right? Well, I end up falling 17 feet. And when I did, my knee just blew. I mean, So I knew as soon as I saw what happened to Ronnie and the way his knee contorted, I was like, that's exactly what happened to my knee. And so I knew exactly what it was. And I was telling people that day, like, nah, it's an ACL. He's done.
Like, he's done. Nope, he's done.
No. Don't even like try to get hopeful. Like, and of course, that's when everybody started going down the dark hole of this season's over.
And that was another example of like
sell everybody off.
Ozzy getting hurt because he swung at like a pitch he shouldn't have swung at. Like this was like, of course it happened in Marlins Park. Of course, of like all the history with Ronnie and the Marlins. Of course it happened there. Like again, this dark like
and those little
dark humor of it all.
The little what are they? The little cinnamon toast crunch faces, like that. It's so fucked up, man. It's like they're all laughing at him, and you're just like, wow.
Like, point and laugh.
This is
that was
really
a horrible,
really dark. And I'm glad that they didn't let him play the outfield there when we went back, because it was like, just give him a little while longer. There's a mental aspect to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, and hopefully Ozzy will come back this season and be Ozzy. And I mean, there's not a tougher dude out there than Ozzy Albies. Like,
I love Ozzy. Yeah,
I've seen him take some shit that I'm like, damn, like, got right back up, like nothing happened, and just kept going. So, I mean, he's like our little team.
A good guy.
He's like our little team captain. He's our guy. So,
yeah, my mom yesterday was asking me. She was like, "Oh, is Riley the new golden boy?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" She was like, "Oh, just like the favorite now that Freddie's gone." I was like, "I don't really think there's one. Like, you've got Ronnie, Riley, Dansby, Ozzy, Max Fried, like all. I feel like there's not really one guy that everyone loves. I think that's
so good for the team. I think that's so good. It's like, and the reason that that title kind of got bestowed upon Freddie was because in the rebuilding years, there wasn't anybody else. And that's not to say Freddie didn't deserve it. Like, I mean, like, Freddie was awesome. He was a player that we will never forget. But nowadays, and I'm very interested to see where the Dansby thing goes. Prior to the season, I would have said,
hell of a year, man.
No way we're bringing him back. And now
it's like, crazy now that I'm like, I'm excited when he comes up to bat. I'm like,
yes.
Right? Like, what happened?
Weird. It's so weird. Like,
but I'm like, oh, good, Dansby's up. Yeah. Wait, what?
I'm almost more excited when he comes up than I am when Ronnie comes up. Right? But that's just because Ronnie's kind of been struggling a little bit. Yeah. So it's like when Dansby comes up, I'm like, oh, good, a hit. You know, it's like, oh, here we go.
And then through, man. And I feel like it's gone on long enough that I'm like, is he in a hot stretch or is he just like figuring something out 4 years later?
I don't know. Say, oh, Dansby's striking out a lot again. Here comes the regression. And then that game, he had like 3 hits and a homer. And I was like, well,
Sorry, I cough at myself. Yeah.
So it's just, I mean, hey, I hope it's real, man. Like, it's what we
now he's like earning himself a big contract that I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know if we're gonna bring him back.
Yeah, and you know what?
If he's gonna try to get money that we could give to a Turner or a Correa or something.
He might be able to get, like, if he plays this well all season.
Yeah.
And then he can point to, look, my career has been on a steady path towards this, which it has.
Yeah.
I don't care about the rolling WOBA and all that stuff. If you look at his season by season, he has become more consistent each year. So he could pitch that as, hey, look, I've been building up to this, and this year I finally got there. I finally became that guy. So I want $150 million. And there's going to be a team out there who's going to be like, okay.
Yeah, and I know he has the same age as Freddie, so that's why a lot of people are also like, who knows if they're going to want to deal with each other.
Future Dodger?
But like, okay, you give us Trey Turner and you could have Dansby. But it's just like, I don't.
Spring training.
Dansby's another example of like the hometown kid that I'm like, does he want to be a Brave? You know, he's such a Georgia kid, a Georgia sports, you know, like.
But he also, he plays that. He plays that, but he also moved out of Georgia.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he lives in Nashville.
Is he pulling the Freddie where he's like, I've told everyone I want to be here. I want to be a Brave anytime he's asked. And then, of course,
of course.
Pulled what he did because he thought, oh, the fan base is going to
this is my town.
Blame the front office and not me. Yeah.
Now it was kind of cool when we won the World Series because Dansby was like, dude, like, I've been waiting for this my whole life too, just like all the fans.
Yeah, how freaking cool is that?
Yeah, that's got to be pretty badass. And he wore the fucking ATLian shirt. And it's just like, oh god.
Yeah, that's like the thing that I didn't really think about. That like,
it was just
to be part of bringing the championship back. That's pretty cool. I didn't really. I knew obviously he was a big joke, but like, wait a second, I helped do this.
Didn't think about that. Yeah, it's crazy. So
yeah. But anyway.
So. Do you want to do the home run thing this week? I guess we can figure it out. Let's see. The last time you said Riley for 1. He hit 3 that week. So you get 3 points there. So Jesus Christ. 27.
I thought you said Ronnie hit 3. Did they both hit 3?
No. Ronnie only hit 1 that week.
Oh, okay. Riley hit 3. Okay.
Yeah, Riley hit 3. Ronnie hit that 1 in Colorado.
Yes.
So yeah.
Okay. Right.
And then you said 4 and 3. You were wrong.
I was wrong.
I was right. I predicted the future.
You were right.
5 and 2. So I cannot believe that happened. So I got 1 point there. Okay, so 17. All right. I'm going with Olsen.
Where are we?
I've been thinking about it all week. I just feel like, I mean, he hit that 1 ball yesterday. That was just like.
Yeah, it's just like I find myself just like rooting so deeply for him. Like especially because I know there's so many people out there who are just like he's not Freddie.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I want him to be like, I want him to succeed. So every time he comes up and he doesn't, it's like, oh, because I'm just thinking about the people that are like adding fuel to their Olsen hate. But yeah,
and
he's just popping a lot of stuff up. I just feel like he needs to like just kind of work on his swing a little bit and kind of.
And he's going to be home playing against Freddie this week. That's why I'm going with Oli for 2.
I like that. I'm gonna say Duval.
Okay, that's probably a really solid pick, to be honest. How many?
1. I'm conservative. I say 2.
Yeah,
But 1. I'm gonna say 1.
Yeah. I'm gonna say we win all 7. No, I'm just kidding.
Can you imagine a 7-0 like because they'll look at the teams too? And then I'd be like, shut up, Mets fans! Look who we played.
Yeah,
Don't tell us about Mickey Mouse schedule.
No, I'm gonna go 3 and 4 actually.
I'm 1, 2, 3, 4 and 3.
Okay. All right.
I'll take a split against San Fran.
I'll take a split and a series loss. I don't care.
I know it's like at Dodger Stadium we don't play well, but I feel like the Dodgers at home we've fared okay.
They have sucked.
And depending on who we like, because I know we said it would be probably Fried and Strider lined up in that series. Not sure who they have going. So there's a chance we win that series. So I think 4 and 3 is doable.
Yeah.
I just hate that if we don't win that homestand, that like that's when the shit's gonna set back in. Oh yeah, of course we only won those 14 games because we were playing bad teams.
But I mean, we're gonna play well. I know we are. We always rise to the occasion, anyways. So
hopefully we win today.
Yeah.
Hopefully we win today and just like reset it, go home.
We'll see.
All
right. Well, I guess next week we'll be back. We'll try to we'll see if we can get that live thing going. That would be awesome. But you guys have a good week.
Take care, everyone. Go Braves.